Good day, everyone. The topic of discussion today is caveat in Civil Procedure Code. A caveat is a right given to a person in civil proceedings to avoid ex parte orders or judgments. To know when to lodge a caveat or what to do when a caveat against you is lodged, it is important to understand caveat and its implications. Let us for a moment consider this scenario. X is the owner of the land and he plans to build a house on it, for which he has got permission from the local authorities. However, Y, who is the neighbor of X, is unhappy with that and claims that a part of the land belongs to him. Because of this, X anticipates that Y may file an application in the court. Therefore, he files a caveat against Y in a court, praying the court to give him a notice when any such application is made by Y. Lodging of the caveat made X entitled to be informed by the court as well as Y about any application that is made or is about to be made or any order passed by the court without giving such a notice. So let us look at what is a caveat in detail. The word caveat in Latin means let a person be aware. In law, it is a notice given asking not to act in a certain manner without informing the person who gave such a notice. The person who files a caveat is called the caveator, and the person who has instituted a suit or is likely to do so is called the caveatee. Under the Indian Civil Procedure Code or CPC, the provision of caveat is dealt with in section 148A. Even though the CPC does not define caveat, in the case of Nirmal Chand versus Girindra Narayan, the court defined caveat as a warning given by an individual to the court that no order or judgment shall be passed without giving notice or without hearing the caveator. So that has become a sort of a definition. The main object of caveat is to ensure that the court does not pass ex parte orders and that the interests of the caveators are protected. Caveat also reduces the burden of court and brings an end to the litigation as it reduces the multiplicity of proceedings. As the purpose of the caveat was to save the cost and convenience of the court, in KVP Koiloth versus MP Kadisa Umma, the court held that no caveat can be lodged by a stranger to the suit. So let us look at when to lodge a caveat. According to section 148A, when people apprehend that some case against them is filed or is about to be filed in any court of law in any manner, they have a right to lodge a caveat. The caveat may be lodged in the form of a petition under the following circumstances. 1. During an ongoing suit or litigation, and in that the application is already been made or is expected to be made. Or the suit is about to be instituted and in that suit an application is expected to be made. Thus it's always about an application in a suit of proceedings, and that suit or proceedings can be in the present, which is already instituted, or it can be in the future where it is expected. In all such circumstances, the right to lodge a caveat arises. So who can lodge a caveat? Section 148 further provides that a caveat may be filed by any person, whether a party to the suit or not, as long as the person filing the caveat has the right to appear before the court in regard to the suit in question. Thus, caveat can be filed by a third party as well if they in any manner are connected to the suit in question. However, it is already discussed that a caveat cannot be lodged by a person who is a total stranger to the case, and the same principle was laid down in the Koiloth versus Kadisa Umma case. To conclude, this clause is substantive in nature and caveat may be filed by any person claiming a right to appear before the court. That is the right. Where can a caveat be lodged? As and when the caveator anticipates some legal proceedings to be filed against him in the near future, he can file a petition for a caveat in any civil court of original jurisdiction, an appellate court, high court, or in the Supreme Court. In Deepak Khosla versus Union of India and others, the court held that Section 148A of the Code applies to civil proceedings only, and caveat cannot be made against petitions made under the CRPC or petition made under Article 226 of the Constitution of India. How to file a caveat? A caveat under Section 148A shall be signed by the caveator or his advocate. Where the caveator is represented by an advocate, it should be accompanied by his wakalatnama. The caveat presented shall be registered in a caveat register maintained by the court in the form of a petition. The register of caveat contains the date of caveat, name and address of caveator, name of plaintiff, name of defendant, and the date and number of the proceedings filed as anticipated by caveator. A caveat is always filed with a copy, the postal proof, and an application explaining to the court that a copy of the caveat has been sent to all parties, and thus the court need not do the same. The court fees for filing a caveat is generally a nominal amount. Now let us look at what does a caveat contain. A caveat should contain the following information: name of the caveator, address of the caveator where the notice should be sent, name of the court where the caveat is filed, number of the suit or appeal, brief details of suit likely to be filed, name of probable plaintiff, appellant or respondents. These are the contents of the caveat. Now what happens after a caveat is filed? Let us look at the notice. If subsequent to the filing of a caveat an application is made in a suit or legal proceedings, the court is required to give notice about such an application to the caveat. When the notice has been served on the applicant at the expense of the caveator is required to provide the caveator with a copy of the application made by him, along with any documents that may have been submitted with the application. If the court or applicant ignores the caveat and does not inform the caveator, the decree or judgment becomes null and void. In the Reserve Bank of India Employees Association and another versus the Reserve Bank of India and others, a caveat petition was filed by the appellants apprehending an injunction order by the respondent. For the caveat file, the plaintiffs were served with a notice and all other relevant papers and documents. They were also informed about when the application will be moved. However, the application was not heard on that date, rather heard 2 days later. The petitioner argued that as the court failed to provide the plaintiff with the notice of the order, the judgment would be null and void in accordance. The court disagreed with the appellants and held that caveat gives the right to be informed about hearing and not take away the right of a court to deliver a judgment or order on the merits of the case. Mere lodging of the caveat does not deprive the court of its power to deliver order or judgment. In the same year itself, the precedent in this case was overruled in Siddhalingappa versus Veeranna case, wherein the applicant on filing a caveat was served with a notice. The case was decided on a later date without informing the applicant about the change in date. The court held that the provisions regarding notice under section 148A sub clause 3 is mandatory, and non-compliance of the same defeats the very objective of 148A. Thus the order passed was held null and void. Let us also quickly look at the rights and duties of the different parties in a caveat. Clause 2 of section 148A provides that when a caveat has been lodged under subsection 1, the caveator shall serve a notice of the caveat to the person by whom the application has been made or is expected to be made under subsection 1. The caveator at the time of lodging the suit says that either there is a suit in the present or in which I expect an application is going to be made, or there is an application existing in the suit and I want to be represented. So whenever such an application comes, the caveator has the right to be informed. However, before he becomes entitled to notice, he has to give a notice saying that I have lodged a caveat, and that notice has to be sent to the person from whom he is expecting such an application to be made. In other words, the caveator has to serve notice by registered post on the applicant who is going to file his application or who has already filed an application, saying that whenever you file an application, you are bound to give notice. So what are the rights and duties of the court in this matter? The duty of the court arises once the caveat is lodged and notice is served upon the applicant. Clause 3 of the section provides that after a caveat has been lodged and thereafter any application is filed in any suit or proceedings, the court has to serve a notice to the caveator. This means that once the caveator has filed the caveat saying I want to be represented, and after that an actual application has been filed within the next 30 days, in that case the court will serve a notice to the caveator informing him that the application that was expected by him has been filed, and the caveator thereby has a right to be heard before the court. Now let us look at the rights and duties of the applicant. In addition to the court giving notice, the applicant is also required to serve a notice to the caveator informing that an application in regard to the caveat filed has been made. Clause 4 of the section directs the applicant to provide a copy of the application made by him along with any other document or paper that may have been filed by him in support of the application to the caveator. The court will not move forward with the application unless an affidavit is submitted by the applicant that a notice has been served to the caveator. So that were the rights and duties of the parties. Finally, let us look at the limitation of time with respect to caveat. As provided by clause 5 in the section, the caveat stays in force for a period of 90 days. If within these 90 days an application is filed, then the court as well as the applicant has to give notice to the caveator. However, if no application is filed within these 90 days, then no one has the duty to inform the caveator. That means if the application is filed after the expiration of such period, the caveat stands null and void. If the caveator still wants to be informed, then a fresh caveat needs to be lodged for the next 90 days. In conclusion, we can say that section 148A gives any person who has the apprehension that some or the other case against him are going to be filed in a court of law the power to lodge a caveat in the court. Caveat may be lodged in any civil suit, including tribunals and forums, in the form of a petition. If an application is made within 90 days of filing the caveat, then a notice is served by the applicant and the court to the caveator. Any order or judgment passed without giving notice to caveator would be null and void. That's all in this discussion. Thank you.